All right, welcome back. We are going to do our second half of Thanksgiving crafts. I'm sorry this is a week late. Last week I got really ill and so I had to take the week off. But I am back and we are going to do some more Thanksgiving crafts. So everything that you see will be listed down below. Be sure to access that by clicking on the title of the video, and let's get started with our first craft. All right, as promised, I really want to revisit the idea of these pretty pre-made decals from Dollar Tree. In the last Thanksgiving episode, I did do a craft with these and they're really pretty. Plus, when you peel them away, they have a clear backer on them. So they're really easy to create with. So I have this wood sign. I'm gonna see which way I'd like it. That looks great. And I just used some chalk paint to chalk paint a nice whitewash look on there. And then I used a sander to distress it. I also have this really pretty, kind of my final piece of this light brown. I believe it was called light brown. Oh gosh, I have like just tiny pieces left of it. It is light brown by Oracle. And I have a cute little design that I want to use right here. And I thought this would be, I actually cut off a little bit, and that's because I literally have none of this left. So that's okay. I am not going to use the punctuation on this little design, but I loved this color paired with these little beautiful decals. I thought it'd be so pretty. So time to reorder. This is a really pretty, I'm losing one. I gotta go find my T. It says grateful, thankful, blessed. And I loved this for the inside of this sign. And then I'm gonna use those decals to kind of do a wreath or some type of decor around it. Okay, let me grab this T. It accidentally did not want to stay down. So let's put that right back where it goes, and we are good to go. Okay, like I said, this little punctuation got cut off. I had literally this piece to use besides those tinier pieces, so we're gonna make it work. So grabbing any middle pieces that are still inside. Okay, and I figured we would start with this and then do our really pretty leaf work around the outside or sides. I haven't decided what I want to do yet, but I'm pretty inspired with it. All right, now I'm going to use my transfer tape, and this looks just to be the right size. And then I'll trim this down further and continue using it with the rest of my crafts. So I'm going to remove it from the liner and then place it right over my vinyl, just like that. Okay, I'm going to burnish as always the top side of my design. Then I'm going to flip this over and also do the back side. There we are. Okay, and then we are ready to go to place it on our wood sign. Okay, so I'm going to center this because no matter what I'm going to do next, although it'd be really cute to do it down here and then you could do some leaf work up here, but my gut feeling is to center this and then we'll see what the next step is. Okay, that looks really cute. As always, I'm going to link all the designs that I found so if you like them, you can use them. And if you want to do something else with them, you can do that too. This would make a really cute design on a sweatshirt. Really gently so I don't scratch my paint, I'm going to grab the corner of my transfer tape and let's peel this off so that our design is left on our sign. Pretty. Okay, and then if you see any pieces try to pull up, just lay them down and they will cure right on your sign. All right, there we go. That looks great so far. Now I have to decide what I would like to do with my little leaves. So originally I was thinking it would be pretty to do, and I can always take them on, take them off if I'm not loving it, but originally I was thinking of doing a wreath around there. It would also be pretty just to do one up here, one down here. But let's see here. They have 6 going in one direction, 6 in another. So that is kind of helpful to get some sense of direction going around. Ooh, I don't know if I love that. But you know what I could do is could trim that leaf off so that it's not overlapping, and then do something like that. Make it look like it's a little bit more connected. Yep. Okay. Oh, that's looking really nice. Oh, that's pretty. I could even just do one on the top, one on the bottom. Let's see how it looks to continue going all the way around. Then we can decide. And it's helpful to note that you can trim it and kind of play around with it to do whatever you'd like. So I'm going to place this one there, I think, or I'm wondering if our secret here is going to be trimming down this top one. Let's do that. So this top leaf is going to go because it helps to kind of place these together. And it's getting a little close to the edge for my liking, but let's see if we like how this is looking. Okay. I'm not convinced that I'm going to keep it that way, but let's keep going. Almost wondering if we needed to keep that leaf on there. Ooh. Actually, I'm liking that, but I'm also liking that side as well. It doesn't need to be perfectly equal either. The only thing is it's cutting close here. So I am going to just reshape how I did that. Get a little bit more circle. I might have to redo that side too. And then I can continue going around. And this is where I might also need to just edit this just a tad so that we can reshape it. So I'm going to cut here just so I can stop the curve, and then I can create my own kind of curve going there. And then I will fix this little guy in a little bit. It's all about just kind of seeing what's going to work. I think next we're going to need this direction. And then we can just edit to see how much we need. So I'm thinking trimming the top, just like that. And try to marry these two pieces. And then, not loving the shape there. Hold on, we need to reshape it. Worth kind of playing around with though. In fact, let me take up and this little piece, if we remove the stems, then it helps to stop the shape that it wants to take, and we can kind of create our own. So if I remove this, then hopefully that's making sense, but it's not making sense for me. Okay, then I can kind of come more down. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make up my own rules. I'm going to do this, and then don't panic. I'm gonna use some of those pieces that I had cut off. I'm gonna do this so I can keep this shape that I've got. And I'm gonna use some of those pieces that I cut off to do some filler. That way we kind of fill in. In fact, could even, well, I don't know about that. Okay, so I need some filler here. And actually, I need a smaller one, so I'm going to use this one over here, because you see how we have just kind of a blank spot here? We're going to put one there and fill that in. Voila. And then I'm going to use a piece that I had earlier that has some smaller pieces on it. I'm going to cut those apart. I mean, is it a lot of work? Yes, but is it from Dollar Tree? Even more exciting. So then this can go, oh, maybe I don't need both. I kind of go like this. Kind of fill that in right there. Okay, loving, loving, loving that. In fact, this little guy can even help mend something right here. Okay, and then the only other thing that's really bothering my eye is this little stem. So I'm going to pull that up ever so gently, and I'm going to trim it right there. And then it's like it never was there. Oops, I'm going to trim it a little bit more because I can still see a bit of the line. There we go. Much better. Okay, not bad for a Dollar Tree inspired piece of art. I think that looks really cute. It could definitely come down a little bit, so I needed to be a little bit more mindful with the middle design, but I think that turned out really sweet. And again, you get so many of these decals. I think there were 12 on a sheet. Super fun. And then last week I decorated some candles with them. So really cute idea for these decals. Read and see if you can find them. They're very, very festive for fall. Okay, hold on. I have to fix, we are still a little bit hurting in this little corner. So I'm gonna grab one more that I have just floating. So I don't need to cut apart any of those. But I have this little guy, and I can simply do something like that, and that really helps my eye. Okay, this one is done. Okay, I have this platter that I purchased for Thanksgiving, I believe from Hobby Lobby. It was last year, but a lot of the times they bring either similar or they repeat some items the next year. So I put some rubbing alcohol just on this bottom area because I thought it would be really pretty just to put a little design just on the bottom of this platter. And it's a nice big platter, perfect for hosting all year round, really. You don't have to do just Thanksgiving. So let me tuck that up just a little bit, and I am going to weed this design. I found a long and skinny design, which is exactly what I wanted for this whole idea. I thought it would be super pretty. Now, vinyl is not technically food safe, so I wanted a design that could be towards the bottom so I could arrange little treats and desserts up top without having them sit on the vinyl. So just be mindful of that. So this simply says gather together, but I loved the scripty look of it. Again, I'll link the designs that I have found down below so that you can create with them as well. All right, and now that I have the entire design all weeded out. Oh, isn't that so pretty? Okay, I've been really mindful of using all my tinier scrap pieces of transfer tape, especially when I need something longer. So what I'm gonna do is I will reuse, if you will, that piece from earlier that I just used on my wood sign. And I'm gonna trim this down and layer it so that I can create a longer piece. And I can grab more if I need to, but I'm just trying to bring those crafting costs down. Okay, so I'm going to cover as much as I can, and then what I'll do is I will trim off my extra, and then as long as you layer one on top of the next, you can create one piece of transfer tape. Oops, I have a little piece of that Dollar Tree stuff on there. Okay, so I will layer right there. Okay, then I have enough to do just a little bit more, and just like that. It looks a little crazy, but it works. As long as you have them overlapping one another, it's gonna stick together and create one nice big piece. Okay, now, like last time, I'm just gonna burnish that top and bottom, help that transfer tape meet the vinyl, and then remove the cutting sheet so that my vinyl is right on my transfer tape. I believe I sized this about 11.5 inches wide. I thought that was pretty great for this platter. Okay, and then, oh, I love it. It's gonna be great. Okay, centering that where I would like it. That looks so nice. Okay. And then I'll use that scraper once again to really press that vinyl down. There we go. And then I'm going to remove that transfer tape. Looks so pretty. Now again, I'm just going to arrange all of my little goodies up top. I'm going to save this transfer tape because I have a tiny project coming up that's going to need tiny pieces. So it'll be good to go to reuse. And there we go. Looks like it was painted on there. So pretty, very classic looking. I really love that. And then if you are tired of this, you want to use this platter for something else, you can always remove your vinyl. I usually just use my little weeding hook to remove it, and then you can reuse your platter for something else. So don't be afraid to make temporary decor. I do that quite often because I like to do new things every year, and as a crafter, it's fun to have new items and reuse some of the blanks that I've had. But respectively, I've had some of the same crafty items for years and years and years because I love them so much. Target recently had these little mugs that have candles in them. This one is called Praline Crunch Latte. It smells delicious. I love it. I wiped down the edges because what I want to do is I have my favorite maple leaf that I bring in each and every year to some art, and I want to place them around this candle just to make a fun little design. So I went ahead and sized these about 1 inch by 1 inch. They're the perfect size, and this is my smaller craft that I'm going to reuse my transfer tape for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay one long piece down, and then I'm going to trim them apart separate just so that it helps with time. Find it easiest to do it that way. And what I'll do is just place these as randomly as I can around my little candle mug. And oh my goodness, it's not even lit and it smells so, so good. So doing the same steps that I did before, going to find little spots just to put these little maple leaves. I thought these were so cute. I cut out 8 and I think that's going to be plenty. There we go. I'm just burnishing with my finger, but you can reinforce that pressure with your scraper if you would like. And I will just trim these apart as I go and kind of have them go every which way so they kind of look like they're falling. Our leaves have officially all fallen. It's so pretty. Looks a little bare, but it's so, so pretty. And we love yard cleanup. Well, especially because now we don't have many trees. Our old house had very, very mature trees and a lot of them. So when fall cleanup came and went, it was always so exhausting. But now we only have a tree and a little one at that. So it makes fall cleanup the perfect amount of time. All right, so that's where we're at so far. I think that's so cute. I'm going to have it sit just like that. I'm gonna grab a new piece. I think that I have just enough. Oh, and you know what? One of my pieces is missing a little part of its leaf. Okay, so we are gonna skip that one and we'll put this little piece right here. Okay. I must have weeded that out, but that's all right. I think I'm gonna have plenty. I'm already halfway through my mug. That's about right. Okay, so with number 4, we will put that here, which again is at that halfway point. So another 3 on the other side and we're gonna be golden. I did go shopping with my mom the other day and she loves making candles. And I really am. I know I told you I was going to start making candles. I just haven't had the energy to start learning something new. I've made them with her before, but I haven't done it on my own. It's super easy. I just need to get all this stuff. So maybe I'll bring that next year. That would be super fun. All right, here we go. I did end up using only the 7, and actually that was perfect. The placement is lovely. I love how it looks like they're just falling from the sky, and it's just a delicious scent. So any candle that you have, this is a wonderful little craft. I personally have never had problems with the vinyl being disrupted by a lit candle. I've done this time and time and time and time and time again, and there have never been any issues. So these are fun little crafts, a way to dress up a little candle and enjoy a fun scent. Okay, if you are a mama in 2025, to young children, you know that 6-7 has become a craze. And let me tell you, it's about driving me insane, but I'm gonna play with it this year because my kids are loving the whole 6-7 frenzy that is going around. So if you don't know what I mean, then bless you because you're not having a headache like most mamas lately, but I am making my little boy a fun 6-7 shirt for Thanksgiving. All of our little buddies are loving this little phrase, and I thought it would be super fun for him to wear on Thanksgiving with all of his little friends. Okay, I'm going to take my shirt right over to my press next, and isn't this cute? I mean, if you know, you know. If you don't, I'm happy for you because it is quite the little phase that these little elementary school kids are going through. Okay, I'm taking my shirt over to my press. I'm gonna pre-press it and lint roll it, and then I will press my design right on. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna let this cool down. I just got this shirt at Target and I love the heather blue of it. I think it's so fun. Oh, just a cute little design. All right, here we go. And that looks so cute. Oh my goodness, I love this for him. So fun. So if you have an elementary school kiddo who is loving this phrase, make them a fun shirt for Thanksgiving. I think it is so fun and just a really cute design. Michael's had this really cute pumpkin shaped tin, which I loved, and I love that you can set it up to be a little sign, or you can have it be a little trinkets bowl, but I have a cute little vinyl piece that I'm going to do a fun design on. I guess it's not a cute vinyl piece. I have a vinyl piece that I have a cute design on. I said that in the wrong order, but I have a design that I want to use, and I'll weave this really quickly because it is white on white on this scrap piece that I had, and then we'll place it on our little, or in our little pumpkin sign. All right, and then I'll place my transfer tape as always right on top of my design and use my scraper to help those two pieces meet up and peel away, leaving my vinyl design on my transfer tape. It's a cute, cute design. It's very simple. It is a very nice, thankful and blessed sentiment, which I thought was perfect for this little shaped sign. Nice and delicate, really cute. Okay, let's see if my scraper will fit just perfectly right there. Burnish that down and peel up my transfer tape. There we go. Oh, that's really cute. I like how that turned out. It was the perfect little design. Now for something like this, when you have more of an oval shape, you're going to want to look for a design that's more rectangular in nature, something that is more on the short but long side, and that looks really cute and intentional in there. I love that. Okay, reverse canvases are my favorite craft. You know this about me, and I'm gonna do one for Thanksgiving. So I have a canvas here. I have found my favorite canvases are at Target. I'll link them down below. The reason why I'm saying favorite is because underneath the frame is really, really nice. So that is something that you are going to have to learn for yourself when you are shopping for canvases. You will learn which ones have nice frames inside, which ones have frames that aren't necessarily that pretty. So it's just kind of a learning game, but my favorite are from Target. For those of you who have not seen me do this before, I'll walk you right on through it. The first thing I'm going to do is take a craft knife and I'm going to cut on the outside of the staples because we are going to remove the canvas from the frame. So I'm going to go all the way around, giving additional pressure in these corners because the canvas is folded over on itself and it is rather thick. Okay, and then once you have that, you can, on the inside, this little tiny piece, you can remove this and just toss it. That's going to be something we don't use for this project. But this piece, this big piece that we're going to remove from the frame, is something you're going to want to be gentle with because we are going to repurpose that to create the reverse canvas. So again, this inside piece that has the staples in it can be tossed or repurposed if you have an idea for little scraps of canvas. And then the bigger piece will be what we reuse. Again, keep your craft knife handy because these corners have been folded on one another and can be a little trickier. There we go. Okay, so now we can remove our big sheet of canvas and we are going to use that as our blank canvas, if you will, for our design. Then we have this nice frame underneath. On the back, you can take the time to clean up. I like to make sure that all these little hairs from the canvas are removed so they don't peek out the side. But if you want to remove the staples, you can. It is not mandatory. I don't because of how I'm going to finish this frame. It's not going to matter, but you go as far as you would like. Okay, so I'm gonna set that right over, actually way off to the side. And then I have this piece as well that we are going to use. Now I have a piece of iron-on. We're gonna use iron-on because we have a fabric material that we want to place our design on. So I have my design cut out of this iron-on here. I'm gonna use a black. I think it'll look really nice and farmhouse-ish with my pretty frame. And I'll weed out this design. Okay, all finished. I love this because it has a fall theme to it, but it's not screaming Thanksgiving, which is kind of nice. You don't really want to open up your home and have everything say Thanksgiving on it. So I love this. Now, next thing I'm going to do is same as a t-shirt, except I'm not going to lint roll it. This is not necessary for lint rolling, but I am going to take this over and pre-press it. Then I'm going to center my design where I would like it. It does not matter if it's not perfectly center. We will be doing all of that later, but I'm going to get it as centered on my canvas as I can. And then I'm going to press it onto the canvas. All right, you will want to be rather careful taking that off of your heat press or your heat source because it is going to be very hot, but then it will cool down immediately on a cool surface because it's such a thin little project, and then you can remove your liner. Okay, now we will work on really centering our design. So what I like to do, and everybody does it differently, but I like to take my frame, center that where I'd like, and that looks good to me. Then I take a pen or pencil, and I just do a rough line on the outside of my frame, being careful not to add any ink to my frame, just like this. Sorry, you can't really see that. Oop, there we go. Okay, and then these are actually weeded out pieces from my iron-on. I panicked there thinking my frame had ink on it or something. Okay, that's all done. This is what I'm left with. It doesn't have to be perfect, it's just a guide. And then I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna cut inside of that line about 1/4 inch because we don't want our canvas to be peeking out the edge of our frame. So I'm gonna make it smaller than my frame size. There we go. Then I can toss the remaining pieces of my canvas. And now, again, multiple ways to finish off your reverse canvas. I've seen people do staples. I've seen people do tacks. I've done tacks myself before. I think I've even done staples. I've done it all. My favorite though is hot glue, and that's how I'm going to finish this. So what I'm going to do is, let's see here, I'm going to add my glue. Let's see, is this warmed up? Let's see if I can get this on. Oh, it wasn't charged, so I'm gonna use my other tool, but I honestly have no business having a cordless hot glue because I can't keep anything charged. I can't even keep my cell phone charged, but I'm gonna use my other tool. This is also a favorite. I love this one because it has a precision tip, which is super helpful. The reason I love this one is because it has continuous flow. So as soon as you press this down, it keeps flowing your glue. It keeps the glue flowing until you release from the little button. So I love that. It's so helpful, but it's not helpful if it's not charged, and I am not good at charging things. So we're gonna wait for this to be nice and warm, and then we're going to add a strip of glue right to the top. And I like to work in opposite, so I go from top to bottom and then from left to right. Okay, so again, a bead of glue right along this top. Let's see here. Gotta go quick with hot glue as well. There we go. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is center it where I'd like it, just for this first one. Place that down, and then I'll turn that over and really press. All right, and then again, I'm gonna go and work on the opposite side. So I'm going to go from the top to the bottom, and that's so that we can really pull it tight. Okay, and then turn it around, and here you go. Okay, and I just pull away from me. And honestly, if you just kind of push with your thumbs while the glue is still wet, if you will, or hot, I guess it would be hot, then you can move it into position until that dries. Okay, then I'll go on to one side. And this is where actually, blessing in disguise, thank you, Jesus, that I am using this glue tool because I have that precision tip. It's nice to kind of tuck it under there and be able to really get some glue into a smaller, narrow space. Okay, and then turn into the opposite side. This will make it nice and taut. Go. And all finished. It makes really quick work. Again, you can do staples. In fact, if you wanted to hot glue it to get it into position and then add staples, you can do that. I honestly think this is a permanent solution, so you don't have to add anything else, but you can if you'd like. And then another way that you can finish this again is to do the thumbtacks, but whatever you wish. But as you can see, most, if not all, of the staples are covered, so you really don't need to waste too much time cleaning up the back side, but you can if you'd like. You can also have this be a little bit longer so it completely covers those staples, but there is our finished craft. And I love a reverse canvas. It's so pretty and it's so intentional. All right, the platter is already put away because I needed that out of my craft room, but I love all of these crafts. I think they're super fun for Thanksgiving and very quick. It took me an hour to complete all of these, and I love how they turned out. So I hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving. Let me know if you are going to be a guest or if you are hosting this year, and hopefully you recreate some of these cute crafts for your holiday, and I'll see you next time.